to resign, who decided that he would go, but he wouldn't go. It's got a military that say they're in charge, but they're not taking sides, leaving a population confused and angry. And this, I suspect, we show you from Cairo tonight, is the result. For more analysis, let's go back to London now with Jeremy in the studio.
Thanks, Andrew. Interesting, just to put this into some proportion today, the violence. The Health Ministry spokesman in Cairo said in the last few minutes that they, at the moment, believe that 350 people have been injured up to now, and that what they describe as security-related man has been killed in those clashes, and that may still be a conservative estimate of the damage that has been done on humanity in the heart of Egypt's capital. Well, let's bring in Dr. Wafik Moustafa, who's now chairman of the Conservative Arab Network, joins me in the studio, and an expert on Egyptian affairs. You know Cairo very well. I bet you can barely believe your eyes what you've seen in the heart of your capital city today.
It's certainly un-Egyptian behavior. Particularly today is a really sad day for Egypt, particularly when you get a rent mob going around, coming to Tahrir Square, young men who could say they're certainly very coordinated together and trying to exhaust and really trap the uprising in Egypt, which is it really says a lot about the sincerity of Mubarack and the regime as a whole. And I think there must be some form of measures, because obviously they don't want to lose what they've got. These people don't just want power. They have got a lot of assets inside and outside Egypt, and they're desperate to keep themselves in control.
Come back to you, Dr. Wafik, in a minute for more analysis on Egypt. Let's go to Washington live now, and I'm joined by Aaron David Miller. He's a fellow at the Woodrow Wilson Center and advised 6 former US Secretaries of State. Very good evening to you. What would you be advising the current Secretary of State and the President on this one? It's a pretty tricky one for the United States to know just how to handle this crisis.
I think it is, and the administration is trying to juggle 3 balls and keep them all up in the air at the same time. The first is to identify themselves with the values and the interests of the demonstrators. I mean, how can America, which has allied itself with authoritarian regimes from one end of the Middle East to the other, not encourage this kind of change as long, of course, as it's peaceful? Number 2 is not to be the center of the story. I mean, with all due respect to some of the commentary, we are not in control of this. We cannot micromanage the domestic politics of the Egyptian Arab Republic. And 3 is to encourage the president to understand the importance of making this transition. And our president has brought him part of the way. The problem now, of course, is that the longer this goes on, the longer you see masses of people in the streets, frustrated, angry, resentful, the greater the chances of violence. And we saw the first manifestations of it this morning. Violence between opposition groups. I'm sure some of the pro-Mubarak supporters are encouraged by the government. I think Mubarack's speech last night was designed in part to divide the opposition,